Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Matt Gets It podcast. This is a sports debate show discussing the biggest sports topics. I'm your host, Matt Martinez. With me is my co-host, Billy Ryan. How you doing, Billy?
I've been well. I've been well. Got back from a little late trip, but ready to get back at it.
Yeah, Billy was in Queens, right? Queens seeing the Mets.
Yep, I watched us lose to the Guardians and almost get no hit until Juan Soto hit a solo shot in the bottom of the ninth.
Oh, dude, that's pretty sick. You got to see the $800 million man, though.
And at least I got to see him hit a home run. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's pretty sick, though. Not the sweet part, but getting to see Juan Soto hit a nuke, that's pretty sweet.
Exactly.
We have several topics to discuss today, folks, including reactions to the MLB trade deadline. We also have predictions on which NFL players we think will be traded. We also have an update on the WNBA Rookie of the Year race and the massive new deal the UFC signed with Paramount. First things first, Billy, we're going to start off with the trade buzz over in the NFL and a trio of standout players, Billy, more or less superstars at their respective positions. They want out. They essentially want a new deal or get them out of there. That's what the sentiment from all three of them is. Excuse me. First up, we got defensive end Micah Parsons requesting a trade from the Dallas Cowboys. At just 26 years old, Parsons, the former Defensive Rookie of the Year, is a four-time Pro Bowler and three-time first-team All-Pro selection who has recorded 52 and a half sacks, nine forced fumbles, and four fumble recoveries. Terry McLaurin has requested a trade from the Washington Commanders. The wide receiver has been participating in training camp in a Holden style fashion, attending the facilities, but he was placed on the physically unable to perform list or the PUP list as he recovers from an ankle injury which he sustained towards the end of last season. McLaurin has 1 year remaining on his 3 year, $68 million extension, Billy, that he signed back in 2022. He is fresh off a career high 13 touchdowns last season, with 12 of them, I believe, coming from Jaden McDaniel, and he has achieved five straight 1,000-yard seasons, Billy. He wants a new deal, and he told the Commanders, he's like, "Hey, trade me at this point. If you don't want to pay me, the quarterback carousel that he's gone through, it's kind of finally stabilizing there with Jaden McDaniels, but he's like, hey, like I've been here, I've produced for this many years in a row, like extend me." And then, which brings us to Trey Hendrickson, defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals, who has been adamant on wanting to get a new deal done for himself. Hendrickson is the reigning sack leader with 17 and a half sacks. He is slated to earn 16 million this season, Billy, but he wants a long-term deal. Although he initially missed all of the team's off-season workouts, the four-time Pro Bowler has since reported to training camp. Billy, of those three players, who do you think is most likely to be traded?
Most likely, I think it is going to be McLaurin. I think, like you were saying, he's gone through a carousel of quarterbacks, and he's finally got himself a good one with a great rookie season last year in Jaden Daniels. I think he's one of the most deserving up there. Like you're saying, five consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, and three or four of those have been with random quarterbacks that are coming in, and that could have been a Sam Darnold, whoever was kind of down that line. I think he was even there when he had like Carson Wentz for a season or two.
Hmm.
Um, I think like you got to pay him. Like you got to pay him, or you definitely have to create some space and get a couple new rookies, or get a couple good draft picks out of it, out of the least. I don't understand the decision making from the Commanders at this time because I mean he's leaps and bounds the best receiver on the team. I mean, like, and it seems like him and Jane Daniels have such a good chemistry on and off the field that it makes sense to just like sign him. Like having that good 1-2 quarterback, like you need the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. You need the connection of these receivers. Like you watched it with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. Like how many countless good quarterbacks with one great receiver out of the mix. I do think Terry McLaurin deserves this contract, and I really hope. I think there's going to be two or three teams that are going to be like, if he goes to these teams, you're going to like, and one of them is going to be the Chiefs, one of them is going to be the Bills, and I think that third team is going to be kind of a toss up But
Hmm.
if the Chiefs or the Bills get a Terry McLaurin caliber player, like their offense is needed. Like Patrick Mahomes has been doing it with a handful of either washed up receivers or up and coming receivers that kind of like fizzle out here and there. So I think they got to pay him or at least get a good deal to get some money back. I do agree that they had that extension in place. He's got the 1 more year deal. You got to pay to play.
Especially now, Billy, with the wide receiver market being reset with the massive deals that Justin Jefferson and then Jamar Chase have each earned respectively. So, excuse me, it is gonna cost the Commanders a hefty amount of money to keep McLaurin, if we're being all honest. He is slated, let's see here, to make 15.5 million this year. So if Jamar Chase is making 41 million, I mean, granted that was a Triple Crown winner, slightly different, right? But I would assume McLaurin's gonna probably want somewhere around 30 million, right? Like maybe not like top of the heap, but like at least pay him a respectable amount, like we said. And then plus he's produced, right? Um he's been consistent for the Commanders, and with the wide receiver market being reset, like he wants his a new deal, like, and it's rightfully deserving. So of those three, though, man, I guess he would be the most likely to be traded. That's just because of the front office situations that the other two are dealing with, though, right? So if we look at Hendrickson, Cincinnati, I mean, who knows what Cincinnati really is planning to do? They're just going in on one side of the ball, with not a focus, it seems like, on the defensive side. And then when you look at Dallas, Jerry Jones is Jerry Jones. He's over there publicly going against his star pass rusher, saying, "Yeah, so what if he requested a trade? Like, so what if he wants a new contract?" Oh well, that's basically the gist of what Jerry Jones is saying. He could care less if Micah Parsons wants a new deal. He's like, yeah, he's playing on the one he has now. And Billy, have you like heard the comments that Jerry Jones has been saying?
I've seen some of the comments along the lines is like we're not trading him, like he's staying here, we're gonna make it work, kind of thing. But other than that, not really.
Yeah, so they asked him if he felt any type of pressure to get a deal done with Parsons, or if it was similar to the amount of pressure he was feeling in last year when he had to get a new deal for CD Lamb, and he was like, "Nah, the it was a lot more loud. It was a lot louder for CD Lamb compared to Mike Parsons to get a new deal done." So, and then they asked him if he was confident in Michael Parsons being able to play in the season opener, and he was like, "No." He was just like, "Yeah, I don't expect him to be there in the season opener." So not only is he not expecting him to play, he's not expecting him to play, but he's expecting him to play on the type of deal that he's currently under, which is, I believe, his rookie year deal, right? It's like his fifth year option.
Yeah, he had that 5 year option. I don't know necessarily what his contract looks like right now, but I'm sure it's probably in the mix of like something low, like 7, 8 million, maybe 10.
Yeah, and again, if we look at his position, the market just got reset with
Right.
TJ Watt and others getting massive contracts. So of course Parsons gonna be like, "Hey, I'm next up in line. My production is arguably just as equal to theirs, or comparable at least, right? In some respective areas, where he's a double-digit sack guy, he's creates turnovers, and aside from this last year when he missed what 4 games with the ankle injury, he's been out there on the field, so it's not like he's missed extensive time. So, but again, it's just I don't see Jerry Jones really caving and doing like Parsons any favors. And then the same with the Bengals, they don't seem to want to cave at all when it comes to Hendrickson. They're only really a productive player on the defensive side of the ball. Like, so McLaurin would probably be the safest bet to be traded.
Right. And I don't know what's going on. Like with the Bengals specifically, I don't know what's going on in their back office, but they've been having contract issues this whole season, and not just with Richards or Hendrickson. It's been with like one of their rookie guys who they're just trying to scam out of a rookie year deal without like any
Hmm.
incentives, and you're like, dude, you signed like six other rookies that have this in their contract. Why you're just screwing over this defensive back because what? Because you don't want to pay an extra like million or $2 to get your guy right. Like you just drafted him.
The craziest part is they drafted him because they not sure what to do with Hendrickson. So you got both of them basically that were holdouts all of the off season or all of like for the off season workouts, uh, and basically haven't really gotten acclimated to the current team that's going into this year. So
That's great. Yeah, they need a new controller. They need some help in there ASAP. They got all the talent in the world. They just gotta figure it out.
and Joey Burr they trust, I guess, huh?
Well, at least somebody's getting paid.
Him and Jamar Chase. Hey,
Yeah.
Higgins too got Higgins finally got his money too. T Higgins.
Oh yeah, you're right. They're like screw defense. We're gonna put up 50 points a game. Like we'll make it happen.
That's what they're banking on. They're like, yeah, we're gonna outscore everybody. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Uh, Next up, Billy, we got some baseball to talk about. Now that the dust has settled, regarding the MLB trade deadline, which move or moves do you think was the best? And was there any player you were surprised to see traded, or were you shocked to see a certain player not be dealt, Billy? I know there's like a three question part in that topic there, so I'll let you talk away.
I guess I will start off that I'm happy that the Dodgers didn't acquire anybody good. I'm gonna start off that point. Just because screw the Dodgers. Like we're at this point in time where it's like, hey, you build a super team, you have all the money in the world to build this up, and I'm glad you guys are remaining stagnant at least for this time being.
Believe me, I could piggyback off of that. So I'll let you finish, but I might have to piggyback off of that.
Right. And like obviously if we're going off of kind of like some of the big names that were traded, I think the Padres acquiring Mason Miller is a good pickup. Like they needed some pitching, they needed the staff behind it. But in return, you're like we were talking about earlier, they basically gave up the like four guys in their farm system that are top prospects. I think there was like a 18, a 28, like a 31, and then like obviously I think there was somebody who was like in like the 70s, but like top guys, and they do a great job about kind of building up that farm system. But I mean, at the end of the day, you're like, hey, if I'm in the AAA for the Padres, like I'd go to San Diego any day of the week. I play baseball where it's perfect all the time, like all the time. So I think that's kind of one of the big names that kind of stood out to me, at least from the top down.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement at the trade deadline. From a pitching standpoint, from a position player standpoint, just teams that are in the hunt for the postseason, they're going all in. And first and foremost, the Padres are definitely going all in, and they've been the last couple of years. Like
Yep.
they've made moves. They've traded for star players. They've also traded away their star players. They're like, yeah, we traded for Juan Soto, but yeah, let's also trade him away. It was like a year rental, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're fine with that. Like most teams be like, no, we're keeping Soto for as much as we can. Like, no, let's flip him for some more pieces, right? And then, of course, they bring in Mason Miller, one of the premier closers in the game, an absolute flamethrower, consistently throws 100 miles an hour with ease. If we look here, Billy, I believe he's pitched in, let's see, he has 21 saves on the year with 68 Ks in 42 and two-thirds innings pitched.
Oh, yeah.
And he's bringing you what, 103 miles an hour?
I mean, yeah, that and he's got some good off speed. He's got like a real tight slider that looks like a fastball out of the hand, and then it cuts 6 7 inches out of the zone.
So him being one of the premier closers, he's now added to a Padres bullpen who has been lights out. They had three relievers make the All-Star game this year alone. And then you add Mason Miller, who was an all MLB player as a closer. I think he was a second team selection, but that means he was one of the top two closers in baseball all of last year. And then you add him at the deadline. to make your run. So realistically, if you're the Padres with that bullpen, you only need your starters to go literally 5 innings, right?
Like yeah, truly like a minimum. Like hey, get me five, and it's okay if you give up 2 to 3. I mean, their offensives they're pretty
Hmm.
decent on that side too. So dude, being able to come in and shut ball games in the back half is such an advantage. Like I
Yep.
can tell you how many times throughout college baseball, like going into one of the last 2 innings with a 2 to 3 run lead, you're like, this could truly go any which way, like any which way.
Hmm.
So having that confidence in the back half of the game and especially I'm sure that from a starting pitcher standpoint, you're like, hey, I can give up a couple runs and still feel good about going
Yeah.
in and potentially getting a win or helping my team and getting a no contest. Like I think that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, especially for like even an older pitcher like you, Darvish, right? So he doesn't have to have that as much wear and tear on his arm anymore. Like, hey man, get us through 4, 5 if you can, right? If you're absolutely dealing, maybe we'll let you go 6, but we don't need you to go 7, 8, 9 anymore because we have such a lethal bullpen with multiple options to choose from.
Yeah, and they can all come out like all the other relievers, like you were mentioning. They can come out and throw 2 innings. It's not like they're 1 inning
Yeah,
setup guys or
exactly.
one like a lefty on lefty specialist kind of guy.
Hmm.
You're able to kind of mix and match there, where you're having like, okay, let's look at the back half of the lineup. Let's have him go, 6 through 3, and we'll pull him from there. And it's just like you're able to kind of just strategically plan around that portion of the game a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, I would say Billy, the most glaring person that was traded was probably Eugenio Suarez, right? From the Diamondbacks over to the Mariners, just from a production standpoint, just what he's been able to do thus far this season. To this point, he has 37 home runs, 92 RBIs, both good enough for the fourth most in baseball. So that type of bat gets added to the Mariners lineup, who already has MVP arguably the front runner right now for the American League with Judge, missing some time due to injury, Cal Riley. He's the AL front runner right now for the MVP. But then you have Naylor who could provide some pop. You still got J Rod. I mean the five-tool player that he is,
Yep.
and then you add Suarez, who's now could be protection for Cal Riley, right?
Yep. Exactly.
So what are your thoughts on that move?
I think that's a great move. Like I think the infield was lacking for the Mariners a
Hmm.
little bit, so I think that brings a great spark. He's also he's a pretty great defensive player as well. Like he's very solid, like limited errors last year and everything like that. But I do have a little concerns because I'm looking at it now, and the Mariners gave up 3 top 20 prospects for Suarez. So and all of them are various different positions. You got a pitcher, you got 2 pitchers, and an infielder. So that's your young talent coming up. Like you better be able to kind of develop those guys and bring up even your double A, single A rookie ball guys to kind of fill some space. But ultimately, I do like the pickup, and I do think it brings a little bit more electricity other than just Cal Riley right at this point in time. Don't get me wrong, he's been a one man show. The dude has been balling out. I think he just hit his 45th the other day. It was yesterday. Um,
Correct. Yep.
so potentially best all time year from a catcher with, coming to the last 20 games or so. Um, I think a lot of good stuff coming forward.
3 away from tying Salvador most all time by a catcher.
I mean, and it won a platinum glove last year. This, I mean, change to a torpedo bat, you become one of the best players in the MLB is kind of
Right.
nuts.
Everyone but Anthony Volpe, apparently.
Dude,
That switches to the torpedo bat.
I'll say even my roommate, dude, I'm telling you, every time Volpe comes up to the plate, he's just like, why is this guy still on the team? And he's just such a diehard Yankees fan. It's so funny to hear.
Dude, I have, I don't want to say violent discussions, but let's just say intense discussions with my cousin who's a Yankees fan. We're like, it's like it's comical at this point. Like it's it's ground out, error, E6. Like it's expected at this point. Like his little 3-run shots that he gets every now and then. Don't let those fool you. Like those come in games when they're losing like 7-3, or you know what I mean, or like he hasn't hit for like the last like 23 at bats, and then he'll hit a home run. You know what I mean? So like it looks like he's doing decent, but it's realistically not. But I digress. Getting back to your initial point, Billy, that you were glad that the Dodgers didn't upgrade at the trade deadline. So there was, um, or I should say, it was reported that the Dodgers were interested in left fielder Steven Kwan from the Cleveland Guardians. And I just got to say, if that was to be pulled off, I might not have watched baseball the rest of the year. I'm not playing. Like it would have been it's not funny anymore. Like it wouldn't have been funny anymore if the Dodgers got Steven Kwan. You know what I mean? Like you add to that stacked of a lineup, if again they didn't get him, so just to clarify, but if they were to have got him, you add uh one of the premier contact hitters in the game who sees pitches with the best of them. I mean, this guy is hard to strike out. Obviously I'll probably say Luis Ariz takes that with ease,
100%.
but Steven Kwan is definitely in the upper echelon. Like this guy is tremendously hard to get out. He plays uh fundamental baseball. Like he's great in the outfield. Like minimal mistakes made. He attitude. He goes about his business. But my God, if you add that type of player, multiple time All Star, to the Dodgers with that lineup that includes Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, who is also probably going to win what another MVP this year. That's another discussion. Um, Freddie Freeman, like that would have just been insane if Kwan would have got dealt to the Dodgers. But I am so glad. Thank you, baseball gods. That did not happen. Yeah, just
Appreciate you.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Like that would have just been deadly, Billy.
Now, like you're saying, like that's the one that it's the stake in the heart. That's the final straw. You're like, hey, I physically can't take this anymore. They're ruining baseball.
Bro, I'm saying. And the Guardians were sellers at the deadline too. Like, uh, it was really surprising that they held on to Stephen Kwan because, man, there was multiple players on that roster that were in trade talks. I mean, and if they weren't having their gambling trouble, their two closers or two of the relief pitchers, they would have probably been dealt if we're being honest. Like they would have probably got a massive haul for Emmanuel Clase if he wasn't doing what he was doing,
and
betting on throwing pitches essentially. Like
like you go back and you look at it, and he was 100% like guilty. He's out here telling people like I'm gonna throw the first pitch ball at 100 miles an hour. So like
yeah,
throw the over on the speed on the pitch and then throw the ball like, which is just like absolutely nuts because he was one of the premier relief closing pitchers in the game. Like he did well in the playoffs last year. Like hard to fathom. Like yo, dude, like are you that far behind? Are you not spending your money wisely? Like what are you doing to give yourself these problems?
exactly. Like it's insane because if you go back and like when they identified those pitches that they ultimately investigated him for, it's like, bro, like come, like they're so obvious. You know what I mean? Like he's choking a slider like 20 feet in front of the mound, like first pitch of the at bat. Like what are we doing? You know what I mean? And
It's
the other guy was even worse. He was throwing fastballs like to the backstop, like
like that's crazy to me. Like I guess if you're in that spot, you're like, what if I accidentally threw a strike here and I also just lost myself 50 grand? So you're like, okay, I'm gonna make this one not close. Like I don't want to even give myself a shot.
hmm
Oh,
like bro, he was missing violently
you're right though.
those
Like
pitches.
6, 7 feet out of the zone, you're like, dude, that pitch was in the opposite batter's box. Like, what are we doing?
Especially for the type of caliber of pitcher that he
Exactly.
is. But
Exactly.
so moving on, Billy, the Rookie of the Year race in the WNBA is intensifying with guard Paige Bueckers of the Dallas Wings and guard Sonia Citron of the Washington Mystics leading the way. Both players were top five picks and both were named All-Star. Were named to this year's All-Star game. The Mystics are currently 14-7, while the Wings are currently 8-24. In 25 games played, Billy, Paige Bueckers, the first overall pick in this year's draft, is averaging 18.5 points while shooting 45.9% from the field. Additionally, she contributes 4 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.8 steals per game. Citron, on the other hand, the number 3 overall pick, she has played in 31 games and has averaged 14.8 points with a shooting percentage of 47.1%, excuse me. She also records 4.5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.3 steals per game. Billy, of those two players, who do you think is the favorite for the Rookie of the Year in the WNBA?
In my opinion, I think Paige Bueckers takes the list here. I think she's played a little bit. I think what you said, 6 games, 6 less games, 8 games.
6 less games to this point, yeah, but that's with because of injury. I think she had like a little hip problem. I think she like tried to fight over a ball screen and got like hit in the hip, so she missed a couple games.
Okay. Well,
But yeah, she 6 games, yes.
in my mind, I think playing less games and averaging a couple what 3 to 4 more points a game.
Hmm.
I think that shows some kind of resilience in that, like showing out, like, hey, I am going to be a contributor after an injury. I'm going to be the person that's going to kind of lead this team to a good playoff run per se.
Hmm.
Um, Granted, like obviously, there's going to be a couple other people that I think like obviously Caitlin Clark's off this list. She was injured for a good majority of the year. So I do think like Paige Bueckers takes this one home, and I think how did the Dallas finish last year in terms of like looking at playoffs stuff like that.
They missed it because that's how they got the number 1 pick, I believe. It's because they had Enrique, who was basically doing everything by herself last year. And oh no, excuse me, I lied. They had Satu Sabale at that point and Natasha Howard. But I believe they missed the playoffs though, Billy, uh, to answer your question. So,
Right, right, and like I think that it kind of speaks volumes. I think she is going to be a person that kind of can come out and contribute, and especially like showing
mhm.
out in less games. I think she's the front runner for the MVP here.
So, man, if you would have asked me this question a couple weeks ago, I would say clear cut favorite is Paige Bueckers, right? She is the focal point offensively for the Dallas Wings. She is essentially the only one who's been consistently productive. Uh, Granted, they've had a lot of roster. The roster has fluctuated this year. They've had trades midseason. They traded Melissa Smith to the Aces, got a first round pick in exchange. They then traded Dejanay Carrington to the Lynx for a couple players and I think another pick too. So it's more or less a rebuild for the Wings this year.
100%.
Uh, Paige is still trying to figure out, uh, you know, how to adjust to the WNBA from college, from her time at UConn, where she was surrounded by, you know, players who are top recruits.
Right.
Now in the WNBA, she's now getting players who are being waived and the Wings are having to pick them up. You know what I mean? Like she's not Arike Gumbawale, who is a prolific scorer. She's having a down year herself. So having to find that dynamic, balance that, work with her, adjust to that, play off ball, let Enrique try and get into a groove, find her spots. Is she going to be the primary facilitator? Like I said, like we mentioned, she is averaging 5.3 assists, so she's heavily involved in distributing the rock. She's still getting hers, but she's also getting other people involved. However, Sonia Citron has been balling out the last couple weeks and really pretty much all year. Uh, and Billy, head to head, she's 2-0 against Paige this year.
Ooh, okay.
And in both games, I believe she's dropped 20 in both games against Paige. So like, it's not like she's, backing down or like it's like Paige is running away with this. Sonia is she's making it closer than a lot of people think and probably what they're expecting at this point.
Okay, I would say I didn't know 2-0. That's a bit of a run in one season too. You're like, all right, cool. Like I own you.
But and then so they both made the All-Star team. I believe Sonia, she finished with I think she was the runner-up in the three-point contest. I think she lost to Sabrina. But so when it comes to an individual award like this, Billy, do you factor in their team play at all, or when it comes to Rookie of the Year, like it's only about them? Because granted, they rookies are typically, if you're a high draft pick, you're typically going to a team
Right.
that is either rebuilding or is not very good, correct?
Right. And I do and I don't at the same time. Like, obviously, I do look at individual stats and make that a
Hmm.
large contributor. I would say like 75% of that for me is kind of where I calculate.
Yeah.
That other 25% is like, hey, how are you carrying a team? Are you going to make the playoffs this year? Are you, doing better than your team did the last year? Like, is it like, are you actually hitting kind of a growth line? Because I do think that
Hmm.
factors into a player's like maturity and everything like that. Like, hey, are they able to build something and see the vision for what they got going? So I do account for maybe 25% of that. But I like I was kind of saying, I do attribute the 75% of individual play. You're like, hey, if you're putting up stats and your team's losing, like obviously you kind of got to take a look in the mirror and see what you can do to reflect. But it's like, hey, if you're out here putting up 20 points a game, 25 points a game, you're like, hey, we should be winning some more games. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
Um, so that is a great question. Like I kind of fall somewhere in between, and like, but I also feel like it kind of varies for me for different sports as well.
Yeah. Like it's so crazy because like when we talk about like the MVP award, that's like the best player on the best team is the MVP, right?
Right.
Except for the couple years where was it Jokic won it like as a sixth seed, right?
Yeah.
Or and then like I believe Russell Westbrook won it too as a lower seed. And then but if you take like those players who are like, putting up insane production off of a team who's already like, middle of the pack, that just goes to show how much even worse they would be.
Right.
But if you take the best player off of the, a bottom team, is that really gonna affect the outcome of the game that much, right? Because I believe Charles Barkley said it, and I'm paraphrasing here. He was like, well, somebody on the worst team has to shoot, right? So it's like, yeah, she's putting up, these numbers, but again, the team is not winning, and if someone has to have the rock, someone has to shoot. Like
Right.
they have to be able to score somehow. Not taking anything away from Paige because I also think she is gonna win the MVP. I mean, the Rookie of the Year. Excuse me. She has my pick. I'm just saying that it's a little closer than what everyone probably thinks it is because Sonia Citron has been balling out. The Mystics have a little bit better record, and they're a little bit closer in the playoff race as compared to, the Dallas Wings. But I would say Paige has the upper hand just because what she's being required to do, she's carrying a bigger load offensively, uh, from a, scheme standpoint. Like she's having to do a lot more, as opposed to maybe what Sonia Citron's having to do because there's also Kiki Ifron there
Yep.
in Washington, and then Brittany Sykes was, doing her thing too. Uh, if I'm not mistaken, I think she got injured, so I don't know if she's having to miss some time in the regular season or what. But so that would be the only thing I guess would go against Citron as to why maybe she wouldn't get the pick. But nonetheless, they're both having tremendous rookie years, both balling out, both doing great things for their respective teams. But yeah, Paige probably is, the favorite at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And man, Uh, quick shout out, sticking with the WNBA. It's not on our slate today to talk about, which is uh a mishap on my end. Didn't even remember to bring this up, Billy, so I'm gonna put a hand up right away. Accountability. Asia Wilson of the Las Vegas Aces put up the first ever 30-point, 20 rebound game in WNBA history the other night.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did.
Like Like what are we doing, Billy? Like how we in the pre-meeting, in our pre-episode meeting, like that's how did that one slip through the cracks there, Billy?
I mean, especially that was like one of our first podcasts, or we were talking just about the injury and everything that kind of fighting back from that. So that's wild.
Yeah, I don't. So I'll put a hand up there. Uh, but shout out to Asia Wilson. Tremendous stat line. Like, geez, think about 30-20 game.
It's probably not talked about enough. Like that's coming out and that's putting up numbers. Like out here actually dominating a game.
Yeah, talk about putting a team on your back, right?
Crazy.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely dive further into that on our next episode. But yeah, just quick shout out and quick accountability hand up there. So, moving on, Billy, our last topic of the day. Uh, we got no more pay-per-view, Billy, for the UFC. So, beep, 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 beep. The UFC uh has reached a deal with Paramount. UFC president Dana White announced the deal earlier this morning. Uh, it is an exclusive media rights deal, Billy, uh, with between Paramount and the UFC. Uh, it is a 7-year deal valued at $7.7 billion. $7.7 billion. So hopefully the fighters get a pay raise now that they got that type of dough, right? So beginning in 2026, Billy, all UFC events will be available for streaming on Paramount Plus, with select events also airing on CBS. This agreement includes 13 marquee events and 30 fight nights each year. Billy, what is your thoughts on this deal, and what do you think it means moving forward for the UFC as a sport?
Honestly, I think this is such a huge thing for the UFC. I think this is going to get so many more fans, and I think their viewership is going to go up. And people aren't going to illegally stream these fights; they don't have to anymore. Like
Hmm.
Paramount Plus is a reasonable streaming platform that's going to be able to allow you to, you know, 10, $15 a month or whatever it is, kind of down the line. So much more reasonable rather than like you're like, hey, there's two UFC cards that I want to watch this week or in this month. Each of those are 70, $80 a piece. And you're like, man, I just dropped $160 this month for, some fights that you didn't know if they were going to be good or not. So I think it's going to be a huge play. I think, even me and my roommate, I sent him to it today and we were like, dude, this is a game changer. Like we're going to be able to just pop on sports whenever we want or like you said, go and watch a couple Hall of Fame fights that we were talking about. I remember being in college and we're watching the Joanna Jędrzejczyk and Weili Zhang fight, and that was maybe the best fight I've ever seen ever, like ever. So being able to go reflect and be like, oh man, I remember where I was at in Matt's apartment drinking this and watching
Right?
these fights, dude. So I think it's going to be a huge turnaround. But like you were kind of mentioning, I hope to see the fighter pay go up with such an extensive contract being signed. And I don't necessarily know how they're going to do that. Like, do you have any kind of ideas on a move they could make that makes sense?
Yeah, so this is where it's going to start to get a little tricky from like a financial standpoint because it's already been a sticky situation from a financial standpoint. So this even adds to that. So fighter pay has always been a big discussion. You know, obviously, the champs get more higher pay as opposed to those who are not. But some of these fighters are making peanuts, bro, for that type of, you know, sport that they're in. Like they should be paying or be getting paid a lot more. Granted, the UFC and Dana White do take care of the fighters from a medical standpoint, right? Like the pre-fight stuff, like at the Performance Institute, like afterwards, like they got all the doctors and all the
Yep.
you know uh medical people experts there, like post-fight to make sure everything's fine. So like they do that right. But when it comes to actually like paying them to show up and put their life on the line, it could be a little bit better. So UFC champions have gotten pay-per-view points. So the more pay-per-views they sell, the more they get paid, right? So now that there's no more pay-per-views, what's going to happen with that in those contracts? So I'm sure they're going to have to renegotiate and tweak that. Uh, I was chuckling when when you were talking about Paramount Plus. I was gonna be like, not a sponsor,
Yeah,
you know?
I realized as I was saying that I was like, "Ooh, that sounded very advertised."
Yeah, I was gonna like disclaimer, not a sponsor, but
Yes,
would love Paramount future for you know what I mean? Like,
yes, for
yeah,
the love of God.
yeah, yeah. If you're somehow getting whiff of this Paramount, But I just that's my own mind, right? Wandering off there. But but yeah, Billy, this is going to be amazing for the UFC average UFC fan, because if you could not afford to pay the outrageous, what, it was like $80 for a pay-per-view now,
Yep.
you can't consistently pay for those, you know what I mean? So you could now go, like, if there was a fight that you missed, and now you could go back and watch it. Like, this is the type of stuff, like that library where you can access the fights to see, maybe get familiar with, you know, previous champions who you were not familiar with, right? And then again, this also helps Dana White and the UFC not have to deal with illegal streamers anymore,
100%.
because now it's on an actual streaming platform, which I would hope would be no difficulties, like actually when they're, live streaming it. Like, it's a big time corporation network. CBS is their, like, a parent company, right?
Yep.
And then fights are going to be on CBS Select Fights. So talk about bringing even more viewers to the fold. This is a tremendous move by the UFC. It's just interesting, like, how it ultimately is going to shape up starting in 2026.
Definitely. And I wonder if I wonder if they maybe do like a viewership thing, like maybe they do for YouTube stars or something like
Yeah, yeah.
that. It's like,
Hmm.
hey, if people are tuning in to watch you fight, maybe you get a percentage of viewership. Or it's like, I'm sure they have quite a few options they could go with. I'm just kind of curious on, which way they take it. And like you're saying, hopefully maybe it is just like a general higher base salary for everybody to
Yeah.
see, or yeah, so many different things.
Well, I, that's what my assumption is, because if you look at, like, all the other major sports, like the NFL has the TV contract with, Fox and CBS, right? So that's how they're able to, the teams and the owners can then take that money back from the TV deal and then put it back into their own team, right? So maybe that's what the UFC is going to do now, use some of that 7.7 billion, my goodness, and then just, raise the base salary of the show pay, right? Because, I mean, what, there's some fighters are making like 12,000 to show, 12 to win.
Yeah, exactly that. And I remember even it was like 5 or 6 years ago, it was like 5K to show 5K.
Yeah,
And it was like, oh my God, you're like, dude, that's not even covering a portion of the medical bills after this fight.
that cannot even be a training camp, bro. You know what I mean?
Dead ass, dead ass.
And then, like and then, especially if you're fighting multiple times a year, right? Say what, three training camps a year,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Training camps like what, 6 weeks, something like that.
Six to
Depending, I don't know,
like 6 to 9 weeks for depending on like the guy. You know what I mean?
maybe like a 3 round fight, 6 weeks, 5 round fight, like maybe none of those extra couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But interesting to what's gonna happen. Who do you think's gonna headline the first uh non-pay-per-view, like, for the deal there, Billy? Like, who do you think like the UFC's targeting?
Oh, man, I don't know. I have a feeling there's probably going to be a John Jones return. Um, Yeah, I think that's instantly where my mind goes is the John Jones return. I mean, it's like, ugh. But yeah, damn, dude, I don't know. If I had to put my money on it, it's John Jones.
Yeah, because it's a US exclusive media rights, so all the pay all the pay-per-views are going to be starting, like, specifically, like, a good time for the US people to watch.
Right.
Like, they're not going to care anymore about anybody else, dude. Like, so all our pay-per-view events, like, now, what, because we're Mountain Time, I think the main card, Billy, starts around what?
It's like 8 p.m. or something usually.
Yeah, 8 p.m. Like, now we're going to be getting the main card probably starting like at 7,
Dang, God, dude, I'm telling you, there's nothing worse than watching the main event and I'm like halfway falling asleep on my couch at like 11:30
10:30.
at night.
Yeah. Yeah. And then if it goes into the championship rounds, you're like, oh.
Yeah, yeah, you're like, God, I hope this fight ends in a finish.
And then, of course, you got to stay and watch the post fight. You know what I
Right?
mean? Like, and
Got
then
to.
the press conference. when Dana White's over there sitting like the kingpin.
I just sit back, my minions, my minions.
Yeah, he's just like that with his hands on the microphone
He's like
all.
he's like Constantine, bro. You'd hit him with the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
Yeah. Man, that'd be crazy to see who they're gonna put on that first card. So, I mean, from like a marketing standpoint, like the biggest draw at the moment is probably Ilya, but
True.
I mean, he's like an international superstar. So like, I don't know, maybe if you just go like the USA route cart, right? Like, who do you put now that John Jones is no longer there?
Maybe like a Max Holloway coming up to his last,
Ooh,
something like that.
Max and I don't know if Gaethje run it back. Oh man, that lightweight division is so crazy, dude.
It's probably one of the toughest divisions I think in the UFC right now. Just the amount of talent that's stacked up. You look at the top 15; it's like half of them were former champions. And you're like, dude, all these guys could be in the mix. Like it truly just ends up on a good day or a bad day if they win that fight. You know what I mean?
All killers too, honestly. But man, that'll be stay tuned for that. We'll have to keep tabs on that, Billy. But that's all for today, folks. We talked about the trade buzz over in the NFL, our predictions on who will be or who is the most likely to be traded between Micah Parsons, Terry McLaurin, and Trey Hendrickson. Over in the MLB, our reactions to the MLB trade deadline, who we thought made the best move, and who we were glad did not get moved. So shout out to the MLB gods there. There was a certain player. Whew. And then over in the WNBA, Rookie of the Year race, a little bit tighter than most people think between Paige Bueckers and Sonia Citron. And then lastly, the UFC's massive new deal with Paramount. No more pay-per-views. Give it up. Brr, 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 brr. Yes, sir. Now, Billy, we're getting to watch all the carnage we want. Like, it's gonna be awesome. But anything you'd like to say, Billy, before we head out of here?
No, we got the social medias down here. Follow me on Instagram at Billy the Thrilled, on X at Thrilly the Bill. But yeah, no, appreciate you guys' time.
Yeah, please share your thoughts in the comments below or tag us on X, formerly known as Twitter. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell for alerts. For Matt Gets It, I'm your host, Matt Martinez. That's my co-host, Billy Ryan. We'll see you next time.